when you play Fiddle, it's like a mental warfare for your opponent, because every single time they like try to engage at you, you just fear them, you train them a bit, and then you walk away and they can't really do anything about it.
You're kidding? That's so retarded! How does he win that shit?
I mean, I'm Cabex, hello. I OTP Fiddlesticks. I play him in the top lane just because I think it's easier to play it there. When for me personally, because I used to play lane before, I find jungle extremely boring. That's why I play him top lane as well. And overall, I just like to fist fight. I mean, that's like one of the things as well. And you can do it extremely well in top lane. And not only that, it's like when you play Fiddle, it's like a mental warfare for your opponent, because every single time they like try to engage at you, you just fear them, you train them a bit, and then you walk away and they can't really do anything about it. Of course, there are bad matchups as well that kind of avoid that, but it's still like when you played it enough, you don't even like need to see your opponents speak. You can just see it from their gameplay that they're like so upset at you because you play Fiddle.
This is so degenerate, bro. I've never played versus more cancer shit my entire life. He just has a fucking point and click that he clicks, and then he just wins. How the fuck do you play this as a melee champion, bro? You literally cannot.
The best matchups for Fiddlesticks are any champions where you can start W since they don't have any CC, for example Sion, Jax, Malphite and Quinn. Hardest matchups for Fiddlesticks are the champions that can stat check you, can split push or have multiple ways of cancelling your W, for example Aatrox, Riven and Camille. For runes there are 2 pages to go for, Airy for matchups that are easy where you can start W with Ignite to play aggro in lane. Then there is First Strike where you go teleport to make more plays around the map. For items, it is really important to adapt to your enemies. For starters, you always go Doran's Ring with health potions. After this, it really depends on the runes you took and what items the enemy are building. You can find an elaborate guide on every matchup runes and items from Cabex in the description.
So let's start with First Strike. What your goal is, usually go First Strike with Resolve as your secondary. You want to look to cheater recall. In case you don't know what it is, you want to slow push the first 2 waves and shove third, and then look for a recall, and then just walk back to lane. And that's what you want to look most of the times whenever you play First Strike. Because you just want to get the cheater recall, you have an item advantage, and then you get to play for Fiddle Checkmate. Now, what is Fiddle Checkmate? It's not an official thing, but if you're a Fiddle top main, you know what it is. So practically, when an opponent pushes in the wave, you can hold it in a way that if he comes to out-attack you, he's in tower range, and he won't be able to do that. Now, at the same time, you can W the minions and the opponent as well if he walks into you, and you get the full HP no matter how many minions there are. Of course, this varies. If you play against range matchups, then you can't do that, but that's one of the strongest things when it comes to lane. So usually it's you get level 3 with cheater recall, you back, your opponent is level 4, you try to play Fiddle Checkmate, and then you just bounce waves. That's pretty much how it goes. And then you're level 6, you can start killing your opponent, because that's when you spike with First Strike targets, because you get your triple tonic second elixir, which gives you more AP as well. So that's pretty much what you do with First Strike. Now when you play Airy, you're looking to play really aggressively, so there are 2 ways what you can do here. You can do the same thing that you go to do the cheater recall, same thing. Or, depending on our opponent plays, if he fist fights the level 1, is low enough, you can go for a tower dive. Usually when you die, people early game, you trade 1 for 1, which is good, because they die and then they lose 3 waves. Because if you're winning early, the first waves, then you're gonna have a push into them. You kill them, they lose about 3 waves. They lose maybe like a wave if they have TP, but still you burn that and then you have a free recall left again. When you die, same thing. And then it just continues the same thing. You Fiddle Checkmate, wave is gonna bounce into them, you can look to ult. Also, you wanna use bushes a lot in lane. Like, even if you're not looking to just go into the bush, it's extremely effective after you're level 6, because people are scared of you ulting at them. So you can just stand in the bush all the time. My tip is that whenever you need to auto-attack a minion, walk out of the bush, auto-attack and then walk back in, because otherwise you're gonna be shown for a couple of seconds in the bush and you don't want that. It's way more efficient to go out, auto-attack and then go back.
Now for the skill order, it all comes down to the matchups. If you can lane bully and they can't CC you, go for W. If it's somebody that can zone you with high damage early like Riven, you go Q, because you can fear them away with First Strike. It is really important to wait until you see what your enemy has leveled before choosing your own ability at level 1.
Mid game, you kinda have like 1 to 2 goals really. You answer side lane, usually you push it in a way that you're not gonna die, so you catch the wave and then you just go hover mid. And you do that until an objective comes up. Objective, dragon, or Baron. You can call objectives like towers as well. If neither of them are up, you can look to play for mid tower. For example, I am bot lane in mid game. I push the wave. My opponent is forced to catch it. I go mid, look for a tower dive. Kill opponents. We get mid tower, recall, and then depending on usually by the time when that happens, an objective is gonna come up, like Dragon or Baron. And then you just keep repeating it. And the late game is pretty much the same. You just do that. You do it pretty much the entire time. That's why the weakness of Fiddlesticks Top is usually split push. And the way you fix that, like if you have a champion in your team that can answer split push, for example, let's say Tristana, Azir, if those are in your team, then Fiddlesticks works really, really well. Because there is somebody who can answer split, and then you are the shining star in a team fight.
Fiddlesticks top lane is the strongest in early to mid game since he can get outscaled due to bruiser items later on in the game. But with 2000 to 3000 AoE ult, you will always have a place in the game, even when you fall behind. Of course, there is also a tilt factor when playing Fiddle, which also scales throughout the game. That's why it is of the utmost importance to play with surprise party Fiddlesticks, as it can enlighten the experience for the enemy's team.
How broken is Fiddle, by the way? That champion is not legal.
Team fighting role is to play hide and seek, like I played against Nemesis.
Plays Luden's Fiddlesticks, and all he does is just plays hide and seek the entire game and gets an ult off on enemy backline and then wins. That is just unreal, this Fiddlesticks playstyle.
And that's pretty much what I do. I just play hide and seek in the jungle, and just by existing, they have to be patient. Or if they're not focused for a moment, I could ult and just win the game. That's what I do. I position myself in a way that enemies are forced to walk into a choke, and then I can ult as many people as possible. Another thing why Fiddlesticks Top is like you could say better team fighting, especially when it comes to objective control, is that you're not really forced to be in the pit, because like jungle has to smite, but with Fiddle you can be anywhere. You can literally be anywhere on the map.
If you like this type of content, then hit the like and subscribe button and comment down below who you want to see next. Now here is one last tip when playing Fiddlestick.
So what you can do is you can combine your ultimate with teleport. Just think, not many people know about this, by the way. I was like the guy who pretty much found it out, and I introduced it to community. So what you can do is you teleport on a ward. You can't be in combat because that's how your passive works. You teleport on a ward. If enemies are around it, you press W and everybody's gonna get feared. You can combine that with flash as well. You TP on a ward, you W, and then you flash, and then you can extend the fear range. And you can do that with the ultimate as well. So if you ult from a fog and you are not gonna hit it, you ult and then you spam your E on the location where your opponent is. That's gonna fear them, even if your ult is not in range. What also you can do is if you have an opponent there, on one of them for example, you ult them, you spam W, and the moment you land, you flash. So what you wanna do is pretty much you want your W to hit first before you flash. That's why I usually spam my abilities and then flash, and everybody who gets hit by your W after the flash is gonna get feared as well. So those are the three main
Second
tricks.
of all, what's wrong with this game? Fiddlesticks Top should never be viable. First of all, we need to put some mana cost onto Fiddle spells, so if you play Fiddle Top and the guy rushes 0 mana items, he does actually go Second of all, remove point and click fear from the game. What the fuck is that brain-dead unskilled gameplay? I feel bad for enemy Yom because the guy didn't do anything wrong, but he played against Fiddle Top, which is just the most brain-dead unskilled champ in League of Legends. Unlucky.